Dr. June McCarroll came to India in the early 20th century. Her husband had a lung condition, and like many at the time, they moved for the dry desert air. Dr. McCarroll was an MD, but she had given up her medical license when she got married, which was typical of the day and age. But with no doctors for miles around, Dr. June, as she was called, helped those in need.
She treated everyone from the local pioneers to the Native American tribes, that there was no one she would not help. She traveled mostly by horse to begin with. Anytime, day, night, whatever was happening, from what I understand, she could always find her on her horse somewhere.
But as cars came to the desert, Dr. June jumped behind the wheel. But after a near head-on collision with a truck, Dr. June had an idea.
She started to really think about what could she possibly do. And she didn't take it too seriously until she almost got into a car accident one day when she was driving back, and it was close to dusk. And because of the way the sun was hitting her and the vehicle coming at her, she wasn't quite sure which side of the road she was supposed to be on versus the vehicle. She ended up going off the road to avoid what she thought would have been an accident. So on a long trip that she took, she noticed that the road had been doubled in size. And it created its own natural line down the center just because it added a second part to the road. And she thought, well, what if we just put a line down the center of the road? What if we just paint a white line?
McCarroll soon communicated her idea to the local Chamber of Commerce and to the Riverside County Board of Supervisors with no success. Finally, she took it upon herself to hand paint a white stripe down the middle of the road, thus establishing the actual width of the lane to prevent similar accidents. Through the India Women's Club and many similar women's organizations, McCarroll launched a vigorous statewide letter-writing campaign on behalf of her lane striping idea. In November 1924, the idea was adopted by California Highway Commission, and 3,500 miles of lanes were painted. Later, the idea was adopted worldwide, but it all started with an Indio doctor with an idea.
She lived off a portion of what is now India Boulevard. There's two stories. Either she painted it or she hired a man to paint it. We're not quite sure which one. And she bought paint, and they went out and they drew a line down the middle of the road with nobody's permission. And she sat out in front of her house and watched the traffic go by. And she noticed that people automatically picked a side and didn't cross the line.